Guys, today we're going to do a pickup to downsize the arcade. I don't even know what that means.
Get ready for the next round.
G'day guys, welcome to Spacies Arcade. Yes, that rather cryptic opening is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do a pickup, and the whole reason for doing the pickup is to downsize the arcade. No! No! Downsize! Bad word. Bad word when we're talking about the arcade. But guys, I am going through this journey, as you know, and there's every corner, every turn I make, every new machine I get, every change that I make is I'm trying to get closer to that ultimate arcade setup for me. And it keeps evolving, guys. It absolutely keeps evolving, and that's all part of the fun of it. So I hope you're enjoying the journey along with me, but it's certainly, I now know that there's no sort of one way or right way, or even from your own personal perspective, you know. I thought I'd have this nailed quite a while ago, but it's taken some time. But I am now starting, I say this with some trepidation, because I feel like I'm starting to get things locked in. But right now, there's a couple of things that are bothering me, guys, and we need to change them in this video. And the first thing is, you know, I'm in a fairly small space here, and I think you guys saw my journey. Each time I keep picking up more machines, I keep trying to jam more and more machines in here. And in fact, at one point, if you guys remember way back when I picked up the Sega Versus machine, that thing was huge, and that took up a good part of the middle of the arcade where there really was no room for it. So much so, I think I actually got down at that point to only one seat to watch the main screen. I think I had the projector screen back then, but basically the theatre, as it originally was back when it was Theatre of Magic, well, the theatre component was somewhat gone. And of course, since then, we changed the name to Spacies Arcade, and really it did become more of a just a total arcade. But I have found that I've needed a bit of a balance, and not only needed a balance, but as you guys know that watched some of the recent episodes, of course, I have repurposed the OLED TV, which I now have, not completely repurposed it, but now are using it also to run my main MAME setup and all the multi-emulation through there. So it's become its own arcade machine in itself. I've sort of gained one through that process. But what it does mean, guys, is when you try and take a seat in the arcade right now, I've got this horrible what's left of the couch. I mean, this thing was a modular unit, and of course the one half of it with the big long, you know, sort of Ottoman extension part, it's already gone and been banished out into the main living area. But the other two parts I cut in half at one point, and half the seats busted on it, guys. It's just not a nice place to sit for anyone. And of course, you can only get a couple of people on, 3 at max, you know, and it's a squash. And I'm just finding that, you know, that's just, it's not maximizing my usage in here, because guys, I spend a lot of time in here watching YouTube videos. I'll watch some movies. I'd like to have more of the family in to do that, and I must admit, I do feel like it's not as an inviting space to do those things. Now, I could banish all of that stuff out into the living room area and only watch movies out there and stuff, but as I said, I watch a lot of YouTube content in here, guys, as well, and it's just a nice place to be, but it needs to be a nicer, more intimate place to sit. So if you haven't guessed it already, guys, that is basically the essence of what we're going to do today. We're going to pick up a much better seating solution for the arcade. That's our pickup. And of course, in doing that, we're going to have to remove a couple of machines from the arcade so that it will fit So looking around really what should go from the arcade, that was tough decision. But I've worked out another little scheme. These machines don't have to go from the arcade and be sent off to the storage unit, because then that would really be quite sad. Instead, I have started to earmark different places around the house, including the garage, where I'll have spare machines, guys, that I can roll in and change. Not all the machines in the arcade, but just one machine in particular. So I'm going to set up an area, which you'll soon see, where I can swap in and out the machines that I have in other places around the house, strategically placed around the house, guys, so they're not quite in the way of anyone. They're sort of subtly, you know, just, I can fit 3 in my study right there, right? There's 3 spots in my study. And out in the living room area, guys, I'm also going to commit to establishing 4 pinball machines out there. Once I get rid of the cruising world, I do need to move that on. We need to get back to that project and get that thing out of there. But awesome game, mind you, but it's just there's no room for that. So I'm gonna get 4 machines, or at least spaces for 4 pinball machines out there in the living room, plus the cocktail machine out there is still going to stay, the handkin, and I've got big plans for that guy as well. And that means 4 machines out there plus the handkin, plus I've got, and that'll be a permanent setup, so that's just a nice, you know, around the pool table, and that's a good set of games. And then I've got another 3 spaces still in the arcade, and that will stay here, guys. We'll definitely have that. And behind me, of course, we've got the Daytonas. That's going to stay. This is just this whole row here is just staple, but we're going to have to need to change some things around it. So with the 3 spots in my study as well, plus 2 more spots in the garage, that's effectively 5 potential spots I can use for rotation, guys. So that's what I'm going to do. And it pains me to say it. Pains me to say it, but I'm pretty sure Optimus Syme pretty much said earlier on in the piece, he's sort of gone through this process of collecting machines. You collect, and then before you know it, you start downsizing and coming back to square one almost. I think I'm slightly on that journey, but I do feel it will. In fact, I'm not actually getting rid of these machines, so that's the difference. I still would like to rotate them through. I just don't see a lot of sense in having so many jammed in one room. Anyway, guys, that is a long introduction. We need to get a few machines out. I need to get the championship sprint out of here. It wasn't a great place by the side of the couch there anyway, guys. We need to get that machine. That's the one that's going out. We also need to get the real big multi main game out, because quite frankly, I mean, it's still an awesome cabinet, guys. Love that cabinet. Love the 3-player control panel. Had lots of plans for that, and still do. Still will come back to it. But for now, that's going off to storage, and I'm going to use my main. Remember, I've got the main OLED area all set up now, guys. I've even got the light guns working, the aim track light guns working on the center main OLED machine. So that's my multi game. So the big one's going to the unit. The champion sprint's going to the garage as a rotation spot. I'm going to free up one more rotation spot by moving the Tato Speed Race, which had the World Rally 2 in it, and we'll send that off to the storage. And then I'm going to bring back, guys, I'm going to bring back the Sorcerer, and that will be one of the 4 pinball machines out in the living room once I get those spaces organised. And then it's just a little bit of reorganising in here with the new couch, and then we should be sweet. We should be sweet. So let's get moving and get these machines moving around and get the couch here and set it up, and let's come back and check it out. And before we do, of course, I want to thank these awesome people for supporting the channel. Okay guys, we've got everything moved. Now is the time to show you what I've done, so let's take a look. Okay guys, so let's take a little closer look at what we've managed to get in here, because I tell you what, this is a second-hand couch, and I looked at a bunch, and there was there's so many couches guys on Gumtree. I was actually getting quite excited. Actually, I started looking through all the couches and the different options. It was almost like looking for arcades. For one point there I thought maybe I could start collecting lounge suites. Some amazing ones on there for very little money guys. Now this one here, I must admit, originally when I looked at it in the setting that it was in, it looked like a really sort of, I don't know, sort of couch you'd find in a really old person's home. Not that there's anything wrong with that necessarily, but it's definitely not a modern modular sort of style. And I think that's why it was going for so cheap and had been sitting actually on Gumtree for some time. But when I looked at it guys, I thought this is perfect for so many reasons. And of course it fits just absolutely perfect. And of course it does also fit in with the retro style sort of theme. And it makes it look like a bit of a sort of a booth in here, right? It's quite a cozy little booth. Now the other awesome thing about this is all Italian leather. Got it for cheap, like really cheap guys. We're talking sort of 1/5, 1/6 of what you'd pay for this if you paid retail. Every single chair is separate. And every chair is fully leather lined. I mean, that is amazing unto itself. So I can, if I want to, take off a end piece and move them along, or take two out, or shorten it, and I could put some more machines back if I really wanted to. Even putting two machines back there, I'd still have a nice couch of four. So I'm not going to do that though guys, because I have been using this like this and it has been absolutely awesome. A lot of people in here now can hop in, come down here, sit on the couch, spin round. And now we've got the screen and everyone's got a lot of space, and we can watch movies and still see Grand Champion. And guys, I've had a few late nights in here too, and ended up just lying on the couch and falling asleep, which is awesome, because I could never do that on the old couch. So yes guys, we have sacrificed a couple of machines, but in the process now this room is just so much more awesome and usable. So what else have we done in this move process? Well, I must admit, originally I had the vertical Astro City here, but that cabinet, let's just flick around to it now. That cabinet is so nice in terms of its sleekness that when I had the Blast City in this location where the Astro is now, it's very bulky, you know, when you come in through the door, it's just a lot bulkier. These Astros, I'm telling you now guys, these things in particular, the first Astro, not the new Astro City's got the big bulky speakers that stick out. That was actually the newer version, but this first version, they got it right. However, I will say, and come back to the Sega Blast City, these things are awesome in arcades, there's no doubt about it, and one-to-one, like next door to each other, and having these speakers sort of facing in towards you gives you that immersion factor. So when you're really out on location or you're owning a bigger arcade, these things look much better, and I think they provide a more personal experience, especially when you've got a row of them. So each of them have their place, and this one fit much better here. And look guys, I can sit right on the end here on this end seat and nicely flush across the side. Couldn't have worked out any better. Oh, kick up the feet. I've still got a great view of the screen. And of course I can admire that beautiful Grand Champion artwork, which I love so much. So yeah guys, it's really, really good. And of course, if we go around, well, the Spacies is in the same spot, and that will probably stay there for forever, I would say. It's the only one that really I've thought, nah, it's going to stay there. The only thing that might change that, guys, is a Space Invaders Part 2. I like the Part 2, and I like the artwork on it too. It's all red and stuff, which was fitting really nice. Red and orange would fit the decor in here really, really nicely. So that might be on the cards one day, but otherwise that's staying there. And of course now we have this awesome setup for all the emulation. And the way this is set up, guys, and we'll spend some more time on it another day, is I got this unit all built in here. Well, not built in, this literally is just a box from Bunnings. This is an old shelf from a previous setup that I had from way back. You'd be able to see that original shelf that I had. But I rearranged everything here, guys, got the PC up and stuff. I've now got accessibility to all my old consoles, the VCS, the Atari 800 here, and I've got my PlayStation 3 tucked in here, PlayStation 4, VR, everything is hooked up, guys. Everything is ready to rock. I take the cover off, we can get cracking with the 800. The VCS, the works, and I want to do that because I want to obviously get into some more games and certainly prepare ourselves for Season 3 of Spacies, which will be a little way from now, but I want to get everything set up, guys, because I want to get into some more games. I definitely want to get into some Atari 800 stuff. Yes, I've got the aim tracks working. I think it's worth doing an episode on my thoughts on those guys. But you know what's really nice? I'll just tell you really quickly. Now I can just sit back on this couch here, have them all set up and calibrated. And it doesn't matter who's sitting down, everyone's calibrated at the same height. Actually solves one of the big problems about these aim tracks. When you're standing up, you're at different heights and it gets out of calibration. Anyway, we'll talk about that another time. Interesting, actually, very interesting what I found out in terms of the playability of those. And then in here, guys, I've done a massive change actually, and I haven't covered this. I did actually put some footage together, and then I needed to put some other stuff, and then other things moved, and I just thought, oh bugger. So I'll just give you the quick synopsis now. Look at this, a theatre seat in here now. This thing's bloody heavy, guys. These theatre seats are just so heavy that that's not even screwed down, but you can't move it. It's solid. So I can squeeze in and out of there, no problems. Got the old flight sticks down there just for a bit of fun. Get those hooked up with some fun flying stuff at some point. But the other big change I did in here, guys, is that I've changed the steering wheel over. I've gone back to my Fanatec wheel and my Fanatec pedals, and the reason why is because I picked up one of these guys, and this allows me to hook into put the wheel through that and hook in out of that into my PC, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. I could do the Xbox as well if I had that set up, allows me to use the same wheels to do that. Couldn't do that with my other wheel that I had here, so I went back to this one, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I really love this Fanatec wheel. It's an old one now, but boy, it still holds up well. And that was an absolute mission. The other thing that we've done here, guys, you may have spotted it or may not have. We have a full proper 16 by 9 in here. There was an ultra wide in here, if you recall. The ultra wide really made it sort of quite thin. Definitely not as impactful as this true 16 by 9 IPS screen. And guys, this thing just fits. It just fits in here. You're not going to be able to see, there's not a lot of light in here, but I had to actually scrape the plastic side of the bezel off one side so that it would actually squeeze into space. I mean, I measured it, but with these panels, guys, it's always the same thing. Panels are always like slightly bent out from being moved, and so as I pushed it backwards, it got jammed. Jeez, that was a fun day. That took me a whole day, guys, to get that done. These pedals in here, and when I did that, I recut a nice space so the pedals had more space because that wasn't set up properly. And this, I still have a problem with the shifter. It's an actual hardware problem. It's a real shame because I love this Fanatec shifter, but I'm going to have to do something about it. I don't think I'm going to be able to fix it myself. I've got to have a look. But it sort of partially works. I can get it working sometimes, and when I do, and playing PS4, PS3, PC driving games, switchable through that. And how I'm switching it, guys, is through this little thing that I've got set up here now. So this is a multi HDMI switcher, and on the back it's got 4 inputs, HDMI inputs in, got 2 additional ones at the front. So also, if I had one of those portable game units, you know, the 2-player game units, I could just plug one of those in the front here and off I go. And it's got 2 outs, okay, not here on the back. Okay, so 4 inputs in, 2 inputs here, 6 inputs all in, multi 2 out. Now what you do with the multi out is you select where you want them to go, where you want each input, so you can mirror the screen. So I could mirror this screen and the outrun one. So how about we do that? So that's input A, so I'll change input A across to here, and now on the big screen it should jump over, he says longingly. Yes. There we go, outrun. So now we have a dual setup here, guys. So can you see what the flexibility we have here now? I can also send, of course, I've got the PC up here and have the PC running in there concurrently. It's just a nice way of monitoring what's going on in the cabinet, or vice versa, or having different sources or different things running on each one. Absolute flexibility, guys. I really love that I've got this now set up this way. So I can flick between, you know, the PlayStation 4 on here, and get the PC on there. It's just any which way you want it, it can be set up. So I'm finding, guys, like even here, this here, Tekken, right? Absolutely classic game. Everyone wants to play it. But I've also got a multi-jammer Pi in there, guys. So I can switch between that, the jammer Pi. I can have all the horizontal games emulated on CRT. That gives me my CRT horizontal fix. Of course, we go over here where we've got our vertical horizontal CRT, vertical horizontal, wow. Try getting that in a cabinet. It's probably square. We've got a vertical CRT set up here, and of course that's also running main multi as well. So that gives me the fix. And then of course, if I want to just do anything and everything, I can do it on here, including now, of course, gun games. And that was why I had the big cabinet where we now have the older outrun setting. Because I was going to put the proper light guns on there, and look, real light guns are still the way to go, guys, don't get me wrong. But not having that big machine here allows me to get the outrun now that we've started the fixing journey. And by the way, guys, I did a little bit on the sound today, got a new cable wired in. It didn't work. don't think that's the cable's fault though. I think we've got some other sound issues. So anyway, we need to get back to that, and of course we need to swap the pots over and stuff, so we'll definitely do that as another video. But anyway, the key thing about this spot here, guys, right by the door, this is the spot that I'm going to switch games. And you know, I'm probably going to get a sign up here that says, you know, the latest game. And so now I can get, guys, any game in here out of the rotation slots, the 3 in the study, the 2 in the garage, 5 rotation slots, and then if I get bored with any of those, I can of course rotate them in and out of the machines that I have in storage as well. So I think we're onto a bit of a winner here. Of course there's a little bit of moving and stuff, but look, that's not bad, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, how many times, even when you're looking at this, right, when you're looking at these games on MAME, and you go, what am I going to play? It's too much choice, guys. Too much choice. So sometimes just having a small subset of games is better than having way too many, especially if you've got people coming over and they're over just for a little while. It's great to be able to just set up a single game on each of these and off you go. Now of course there is options though. We could put a multi in the outrun at some point, but you know, we're keeping it all original to start with. I want to really play that as it was intended. And then of course, yeah, we can put the multis on here. We've still got the ice cold beer in the corner, that still gets some love. And then we've got 3 slots for pinballs, which will always be here as part of my ultimate setup. I've really landed on loving having 3 in particular. It's a nice number, guys. When you've got a small collection, 3 is pretty nice. Gives you just enough variety, flick between them and really enjoy them. And of course, Daytona is not going anywhere. It is still pretty much the first game that people want to play when they come in the arcade, and that was even the last lot of visitors we had over of my sons. Straight on to Daytona is the first thing. So that is the change, guys. We have effectively, you remember the Neo Geo was here, so the Neo Geo is gone, but that is in one of the spots in the study, so it's not actually gone. And while I'm mixing up videos and doing all that editing work, I can flick over as things are rendering and play a few Neo Geo games in the study, because that's where that one is positioned right now. Okay guys, well this was just a bit of an update to let you know. I mean, this takes a long time. I think you probably grasp when you're moving around stuff like this, you know, it looks pretty quick and easy when you look at the video, but I tell you, you know, even just organising to get this couch was actually in the centre of the city, actually. It wasn't far away, but I had to get a trailer and stuff. You know, it's just a lot of work, guys, but well worth it. And I'm looking forward now to sharing with you this new setup as we go forward. So that is the setup. Let's finish this video up. So there you go, guys, just a quick update video, this one, letting you know what we're doing in the arcade. And even though sometimes you don't see me posting on the odd week or so, you can be assured that normally that's because I'm doing stuff like this. And it can just take it can take a whole Saturday and half a Sunday to organise something like this, and it's really difficult to film everything along the way. So yeah, this was a bit of a follow-up, a bit of an update for you guys. And coming up this week, actually, we've got a bit of a special video I'm going to release. It's something a bit different, and it's coming out on a particular day this week, so look out for that. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, so you get a notification when that next video comes out. But part of that video, guys, I need a little bit of your help, and I have asked a few people on the Spacies Discord forum if they would like to provide a question about pinball in general. It can be any general sort of pinball question about the scene, about changes in pinball, the future of pinball, those sorts of general questions. Not the very specific questions on, you know, how do I change out a Zeb's plunger, which was the example I gave in the forum. Not really looking for those sorts of questions. If you've got a big, broad, difficult question to answer that you think may be useful for other people to get an opinion on, then I am happy to tackle those questions, guys. Please leave them in the comments below. But you need to do it fairly quickly off the back of this video, because I will be wrapping up this special video during the week, ready for a release either Thursday or Friday. So get your questions in, and I'll answer them. And if I do pick your particular questions, I will give a credit to you on the end of the video, guys. So there you go. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed the changes. As always, look after yourself, guys. Play your machines. Out of all the games that I've looked around today and the way that I've got them set up, I have actually got the special remix, the Namco remix of Galaga on the Astro City, and I'm going to have a game of that. I had a game of that before. You guys should check that out. I played that with Alex a while ago. If you check that video out, that's an awesome remix of Galaga, guys. So I'm going to have a crack at that, and for that, I'm going to need some coinage. Got a 20.
Chicken fight like a robot.